rose of the ashes. The spirits light up the night, looking down the edge of forever. So stop me or take my advice.
Now, from the Untold Radio Network, it's Untold Radio AM with Doug and Alex Hajicek.
Hey,
how are you?
good. How was your day?
Crazy.
What
I
happened?
just got called old two nap. Because I've been taking 2 naps a day.
Old two nap.
I thought, well, that sounds like a rap name. Old two nap. Or just two nap.
Two nap.
She didn't say old. She said two nap.
Two nap.
Mr. Two Nap.
Oh man, I'm a 3 nap guy if I can get it.
That's bad. That's bad. So anyhow, welcome everyone for watching Untold Radio AM with all the millions and jillions of options that people have. Tonight's episode 176. It is January 17th, 2024. So
Wonderful.
the year's moving along, man. Days are getting longer.
Right?
We're long past the equinox. Every day, 3 minutes longer.
Thank you.
3 minutes of more sunshine each day.
That's a reason to get up every morning.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow it'll be 3 minutes longer. But that won't affect your tan, I don't think, will it?
Probably not. You know, I like to sport a good tan.
Yeah, I know that. Anyhow, so tonight we have a really cool guy on. In fact, we're going to bring him on in just a few minutes. What the hell? He's a friend. So we're going to have David J. SanMarco on, better known as DJ. Stage name.
Love it.
But he is a master sergeant in the Air Force, well-versed in UFO, obviously a Bigfoot. He calls himself an analyst.
I like that.
Of these mysteries.
I like that. Yeah.
He's not a researcher. He is an analyst. And
See, we need more analysts on
We'll
here.
find out more about that shortly.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to let him talk much in the first half hour, but I have a feeling he'll squeeze words in.
He'll squeeze.
He'll
as many as
squeeze
he
them
can
in.
get.
I know he will. I don't think DJ can keep his mouth closed for more than probably tops 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
That's it.
Well, we'll see you guys fight over the mic.
He's going to do the takeover of Untold Radio.
Oh, no.
Yeah, be prepared.
It's going to be a battle.
Be prepared. But now he's a really fun,
Yeah.
cool, smart guy. Brilliant. So, yeah, sit back, grab some coffee, got to turn the lights down, get comfy, crack a cold one of something, get some wine out, pop a cork, something. Grab a Pepsi, a Diet Ripper.
Stop. I'm going to need
Or in
to
my
get
case,
something.
Ice Mountain Water.
Oh, nice. We're not even sponsored by them.
No, and I had I was kind of burpy. I was drinking fizzy mineral water, carbonated. I was getting kind of burpy. I was like, Dad, don't ever do that again. I was plain old stupid. Okay. So your little sister made a surprise visit today because she made a little memory box for the grandchild.
Oh, that's cute.
Who's so cute. She was very proud of it because she painted, did like the rosettes and the painting on the front. Well, she wanted me to clear coat it. And then it happened to be a little nick on one of the leaves. So she needed green paint. I said, well, I got some, but it's like old. It's that Tamiya paint. It's in my tool chest. And it's old. It's been cooking in the garage for 10 years. So anyhow, I'm trying to get the cap off. I can't. So I stick the glass the jar. It's a glass jar in the vise, a steel vise. And I'm going to take a channel lock, some pliers. I'm going to twist that cap off.
Uh-oh.
So what could go wrong? And I'm thinking in my mind, don't do it. Do not do this. That jar's gonna break and you're gonna have green paint everywhere.
But you did it.
What do you yeah, of course I did it. That's me. Because there's always a little chance it won't break.
Yeah.
The cap will just come off. I'll be a hero. She'll touch up her leaf. I'll clear coat the box, and Dad'll be the hero. Okay. So it took seconds. Kaboosh. And of course, the paint, I didn't even know if the paint was good inside. I figured it was hardened. Oh, no, it wasn't hardened at all everywhere. So I'm like, give me a rag. I got it all over. Anyhow, at the end, I ended up with a dyed bright green thumb. So it was a green thumb. So
Jesus.
clean that mess up, got that done. And then, of course, we went on to make another mess. She wanted to try on some leather coats. Well, they've been in storage for many, many years. And of course, one had dry rotted. The one she liked had happened to be dry rotted on the inside. I didn't know that. She put it on walking around the house. Well, big flakes are coming off this thing. So we had flakes all over the house of leather. So we had dust 2 going on now, right?
Yeah.
Then she wanted the little hinge fixed on the wooden box because the Chinese craftsman that built the hinge shoved the hinge pin through only two of the hinged circle. What do you call them? Holes, and missed the other 2. So every time she opened the little box, it would bend all the heck.
Oh no.
So I couldn't figure out where's why can't I get this out? So then I opened the inside of the box and I could see the pin. They missed 2 of the. So I thanked the fine Chinese craftsman for that. It's fine, no problem. I fixed it. But anyhow, we made a mess. So we made 3 messes. So that's what I did. That was my day.
Sounds beautiful.
I worked, had a bunch of meetings, but she's always busy. She hasn't changed that much. She's always got projects. Wonder where she gets that from.
I know, right?
Yeah. So anyhow, but we love her so much. Okay. So what do we got going on here? Gonna skip that. Oh, let's bring DJ on. What the heck? There he
Hello.
is.
Hey, what's going on, partiers?
I'm not sure if this is DJ or Paul Schaefer.
Well, we're both bald, so we have that going on. And both of us, well, only one of us called Tim Halloran today and said, man, if I would feel better if Alex and Doug didn't have hair that was just so much better than mine. So I'm going to work through it tonight and just try to, grin and bear it. But
well, your hair is
awesome
just
hair, guys.
It's clear. You have clear hair.
Okay, that's what it is. It's Invisa hair. I love it.
Invisa hair.
Good evening. It's an honor to join.
Hey, I just bought a bottle of Invisa Rust. Swear to God. It literally just came by Amazon.
That
Beautiful.
Because I got millions of little rusty. I forgot. I'm reassembling my motorcycle I restored, which you know about. But I forgot about all the little bolts. They're all like cruddy and rusty. So I bought one of those ultrasonic cleaners. You ever use those?
I have not. No.
Yeah, they use captivation, they call it, air captivation, to blast micro bubbles and the rust just like disappears. You heat it to about 170, put the bolts in, and then you set the temp to about 175 and let that heat up, and then you let them soak for 10 minutes. Then you turn that ultrasonic and the rust just comes right off.
That is like game changer for people that have been restoring vehicles. Hey, what's up, my bald brother?
And they're cheap. They're like $30 for an ultrasonic cleaner now.
Yeah, totally. That is, I mean, that totally would have been a game changer for people doing this from the 50s until now, I mean,
yeah,
huge.
So anyhow, so that's all I got going on. Okay, so have you seen, Alex and DJ, have you seen this jellyfish or chandelier type UFO that goes over the military base? And have you seen it, Alex?
Yeah, it's creepy
looking. What in the world? Okay. And to me, I watched that, and I have been working on what I call Space Beast videos and enhancing for years. I'm saying 20 years I've been working on this because I believe that there are all sorts of critters living in the ecosystem from the ground 300 miles up, and it's probably the biggest ecosystem on Earth. Unexplored, nobody knows anything about it. We don't know what's up there. And for all we know, these things go into the vacuum of space, and then they come down to feed on, or maybe to get water, or feed on, Pseudomonas syringae in the atmosphere. God, we don't know. They're odd because I have witnessed twice now within feet of me what I know are creatures that are flying, floating, but yet they're not they're not made of nuts and bolts.
Right.
Like my
it's
motorcycle.
a biological flying organism, more or less.
And I call them space beasts. That's my name for them.
That's interesting. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, we don't know what it is. What we do know is that this base was protected by the Navy has something called the phalanx system, and they've adapted it for these bases, right? So you have an aerostat that's floating a certain height above the base. It has like an L3 West Cam MX-20 camera on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has radars that it uses. So any sort of projectile that comes over the base, it will fire it out of the sky. I've been around when it does that.
So you're telling me they're shooting down kind of interesting things knowing them?
Well, the thing that makes this interesting is twofold. One is that they were able to pick it up on that MX-20 camera. When guys went outside and brought up their NVGs, they were not able to pick up that. They were not able to pick up that object visually, and that is what was really, really perplexing about it. It looks like I'm the only one in the show. Hopefully.
No, we're here. We're here.
Oh,
we're
you are here. Okay.
You're the
Oh, hi,
star.
guys.
You're the star.
Let me just say hello. Kathy from Bigfoot World in Central Florida is here. And of course, Tim. So hi, guys. Just want to say hello. But anyway, so they were unable to see this in the IR spectrum on NVGs. That freaked the guys out. And then what this Marine Corps troop, he was on a show yesterday, and he said they came and took that recording. So what we're seeing is a recording of a recording. And that's what made it so strange. And then obviously it went into the water. There's quite a bit of footage that we did.
Oh, yes. You're right. You're talking about the UAP, that first one that was released by Lou and Lou Elizondo.
Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp,
Jeremy and all those guys. But let's play that footage, Alex. Do you want to throw that footage up? Video 2, I guess. Okay. Now I can assure you this is not a garbage bag.
Right.
It's going very, very fast. It is going in a very straight trajectory. And this has been filmed by our military. And there are numerous witnesses. I've talked to numerous witnesses that have seen these like jellyfish-like creatures. So there you go. Pretty cool.
Hi, Pam. Pam's here as well.
What the hell are you? What are you doing with your?
These are my reading glasses.
Oh my God. Okay. I've seen everything. See, last week we had a guy podcasting, one of our guests podcasting from his car.
Yes, we did.
I'm like, okay, now we got a guy putting glasses over his sunglasses. It's all right.
Until I get the prescription.
That's why we call
here,
this Untold Radio. It's also unseen radio.
Old guy problems. Hashtag old guy problems.
Yeah. Anyhow. So, so what do you know? Ooh, who got this?
So I brought this up, and you're gonna probably think it's silly, but
no, that's exactly what's flying.
So this is a Zerg Overlord from StarCraft. It's a
what?
It's an alien creature that is used
okay. There's something wrong and fishy on that. That's like okay. Throw that video up. Can you?
Yeah. You can't like it's unsee it.
Jeez. Okay.
This is
all right.
What's your so is this what
Okay,
you
and
said
guess when
info?
that game came out?
When?
1998.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough of that crap.
Somebody
But anyhow,
knows something.
so Jeremy Corbell is coming out. God bless the man. His timing has been just impeccable on everything. You know, this guy couldn't have good. He's just blessed, with timing. He was on the Skinwalker Ranch stuff and all this UFO disclosure stuff. And he's got a new doc coming out called Decades of Conspiracies. And this is featured in that. It's one of the clips. I would imagine he's interviewed people and whatnot. So here's some close-ups. Wow. But this is really, we're in a UFO revolution right now. Don't you agree, DJ?
Yes, sir. They're essentially what we haven't had in Bigfoot is we haven't had a Lou Elizondo, we haven't had a Christopher Mellon, we haven't had a David Grush, and we haven't had a George Knapp and a Jeremy Corbell in a
But
Ross Coulthard.
it's getting weird. I watched a congresswoman today, and I don't remember her name. She's a newbie in Congress, and she was talking about basically getting out of David Grush that these beings are interdimensional. But to hear a congressperson talk like that is really getting weird.
Yeah, David says that there is a mathematical theoretical framework to explain that there is a dimension that's co-located with ours. And somebody the other day used an analogy: if you were to walk next to a wall and cast your shadow, it could look something like that. And that would explain where they're coming from. Some of them, not necessarily all of them.
Yeah.
Rather than that they're traveling across space
Right.
to get here.
Yeah.
So,
but
and he's a physics major.
But my question is, and this goes to you and Alex, do you think that an alien being is doing this with their body, going in and out of dimensions, or do you think they have some little device like an iPhone that they use, or a iPhone watch or whatever you call it, Apple Watch? Do you think this is being done with their mind to travel with their craft across, or is it technology? So that's a question.
Alex, you go first.
What do you think?
I think it's some sort of organic technology.
Organic technology. That's a nice phrase. I like that phrase. Alex coined a new phrase.
Yes. Like Grush coined biologics.
It's
we never heard anything referred to. We have recovered biologics. No one ever heard that.
Yeah. Right, exactly. We were up at Snow Grove and Chris and Adam and all those and Bud heard this thing. They called it the thunder knock from a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because they felt the shockwave from it. That's a new phrase now.
You did, Alex?
No, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Chris
sorry.
Reinhardt, Adam Cole.
Okay, right. Chris Reinhardt
and Bud Johnson. It was Chris that coined the phrase. But then all these people heard that as talking about it on this Untold, and I started getting letters every day going, I heard a thunder knock once. But see, when people have some vernacular to freaking communicate, it really helps. So just saying, what did you say? Organic what? Technology.
Organic technology.
See, those are things that allow us to communicate about these things. And yes, I'm skeptical. Obviously that thing could be a balloon, but you kind of wonder, you kind of doubt a balloon could go that quick. I don't think there's any chance.
Well, there's two issues. So if it was a balloon and guys went outside, they would have said, oh, well, that's a Mylar balloon. Yeah. So second of all, you have trained operators that go there on rotation to operate that sensor that's connected to the aerostat. And they're very, very professional guys. They know what something like that looks like. If it was that easy, well, then the enemy would just float a balloon over there and just drop ordnance off it.
Yeah.
Without the phalanx just blasting it into next week. And I've been around when those have gone off. They're quite scary. I was in a building once when it went off, and I thought an airplane was going to crash into the building because it sounded like the turboprop propeller sound at high speed, but it actually was it firing rounds off. But anyway, the point of it is that if it was that, someone wouldn't have come and taken the tapes,
Right.
taken the recordings away. So they don't do that for
Confiscated
Mylar
everything.
balloons. Yeah.
Now that thing is also going a lot faster than I think people think. I would say 80 miles an hour, 60 to 80 miles an hour. A balloon can simply not go that quick in a straight line. It cannot. It's impossible.
Well, just it didn't look like a balloon at all.
It didn't move. It didn't go up. The balloon can sort of will flutter with the wind.
Yes.
And
Right,
it sort of
right.
it looks like like a kite would look, but this
Yeah.
didn't look like that. It's just like that one from
Levitating.
2013 in Puerto Rico. It's just on its own vector. It's not moving up, down, left, right. It's
Yeah.
just not a care in the world.
But it is good to be skeptical, and
Sure.
but it's also good to be interested. I hate it when I meet people that are just, that's a balloon, and they have no interest. They don't even want to think about it because they just debunked it so fast.
They won't even look at the
They won't
tape.
even think about it. And I think that's sad because you're not going to learn much doing that,
Yeah.
So I just think that's cool. But see, let me take a peek here. I don't know if it says when this new doc is coming out, but knowing Jeremy, we'll all know about it. Apparently he was on Fox News Digital during a phone interview Friday. And he said basically there's some adversarial forces working against him, which is interesting.
He was near tears. So there, if anybody wants to watch a documentary that came out within the last 3 weeks, it's on Tubi. It's a UFO documentary. Forgive me, I don't recall the name. Jeremy is featured in that. George Knapp is in that, among a couple other friends of ours from the community. But when they asked him about, so this is a guy, is a MMA athlete type of a guy,
Yeah.
a jiu-jitsu guy. And so for him to have to stammer and be near tears would indicate that somebody probably threatened him, because he was asked, have you been threatened? And he said, yes. And are you going to, and he's like, yes, I'm going to continue. He's Jeremy. In addition to this, he's a businessman. He, renovates homes and stuff, and sells them and things like that. He's a hardworking man in addition to doing the same work that you do. But he is somebody.
Do you know him, DJ?
I don't. We have a mutual friend in common, and he does not do a lot of podcasts. He started his own,
Right.
and I've tried not to. I haven't pressed the issue.
Well, I haven't either. With those guys, because they're on so many things. I would rather show a clip of them. Some specific clip, and do it that way.
They have their own show. They want to put out their own stuff. But what I will tell you is that. So I have a source, a media guy that's really good friends with him. Hi, Deb. And he said, basically the Navy has given him some videos. Some of those videos were from 2019 off the coast of LA. I am as close to 100% as you could be that the Navy authorized someone to give him those videos. Because otherwise they could just see the timestamp in the CIC and know who gave him those videos and arrest that person. So he has a lot of great sources. People trust him. People that are working on these back engineering UFO programs that are not known, and also people in the military services. Why they've chosen George and Jeremy, I don't know, but their trust is very well placed because they don't leak. They will keep videos like he's kept this one until it was time to release it, or when he's told, and he never burns a source.
I'm reading a comment by Susan Lawrence. She says, I saw a program that compared the jellyfish with balloons celebrating an Eastern holiday. The bottom is 2 or 3 letters. Okay, well, that's interesting. It's just, go ahead and throw photo 2 up, Alex. Here, I'll come back on here. Photo 2.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see it. But anything's possible.
Yeah, they basically confirmed this video to him, as did the Marine Corps guy who, if Deb is in the chat, Deb, if you could tell us what show the Marine Corps guy was on yesterday. Actually, he was on with George and Jeremy's show. It's called Weaponized is the name of their
Oh,
show.
okay. So
And
George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell have a
they
show.
interviewed an intel guy who was
Great.
present when that video was taken.
Very
So it's
interesting.
not a fake. It's not a fake video.
No,
Much
I
as
don't think so. Only because I've
people would
seen
like to
things
think that.
similar, and too many people have filmed the same exact object going in a very, very straight line for a long distance. And yeah, I could relay a quick experience we had. We were
Please.
out on my deck. To just put some suntan lotion on. It was a beautiful, beautiful summer day. And Yvette is watching this black object go around one of our trees, around and around this tree. She thought, oh, it's got to be a balloon, you know. Some neighbors having a party. It's a black balloon. And then it came up to the deck rail and stopped and locked right there at the deck rail and started changing from a diamond to a circle, to an oval, to a diamond, you know, all these different shapes. And then she started screaming. When she realized it was a real thing, kind of looked like it was even breathing. Then
Wow.
she started screaming. I turned my body and look at it. Now it's 4 feet from me.
Wow.
I know it's not a
Wow.
balloon. I can see the blackest thing. I've never seen the color that black. And I can see a pattern on it that's amazing. And I can see it also changing shape. And the moment I brought my camera and turned it on, it didn't move. But the moment I swung it to actually film it while it was running, boosh, up to the clouds, just instantly. And I did get footage of it. And I can play it next week. If you guys want to tune in next week, I'll make sure Alex has it. And that has kind of changed my life and Yvette's, because we realize that these things, and I don't think it was a drug, you know, I think it was a living creature. And then the other cool thing, we went back, we make sure we had the footage. We went back out there, and here comes another one out of the lake and straight up to the clouds. And the one that came out of the lake was like a pill shape, like a Tic Tac, but black.
Wow. How big was that one? Was that a bigger one, or was that a small one?
3 feet probably. And I got
Small.
footage of that one too. I just haven't blown it up yet or zoomed it in.
Doug, if I can ask you,
Yeah.
what did you feel with the first one? And then the second one, but talk about the first one, the one that was changing shape, the one that got your wife really freaked out. What did you feel when you visually saw it?
I just thought, I want to get it on tape because I'm a filmmaker.
Your dad is that guy who'd be like, look, Sasquatch, stay right there. I'm just going to reach in here. There's no gun. I want to get my camera out.
Well, I didn't really feel threatened at all. I felt no fear.
So that's the point. You didn't feel fear. That is really freaky, because most people feel that.
She did. She screamed.
She did.
Yeah, she screamed. That's what got my attention. And of course, I looked at her, and she said when she pulled her head back, like when she realized what it was, she jerked back and the thing jerked back too.
What about the second one?
Second one just came out of the water and went straight to the clouds.
So no, you didn't even have time to really emote on that, because it didn't.
I filmed it.
You did.
I got it up, kind of heading up to the clouds.
This
but
is Deb,
it was great to get it coming out of the water.
Yes, it would have been.
I was 50 feet from it, as it came out of the water. And it was like very pill-shaped, the one that came out of the water. But the one there was by the deck rail was just changing shape.
I had occasion to see one of those Tic Tacs through a job that I had a few years back, and it basically looked extremely symmetrical.
Yeah.
Well, like a Tic Tac is fat in the middle, so it doesn't really look like a Tic Tac. It looks like when the doctor prescribes you a capsule and is perfectly symmetrical on both sides. That's kind of, I don't know if that's the shape that you saw.
It was, it was moving.
Too
When
dark.
it came out of the water, it was moving pretty quick.
Okay.
It blasted out of the water. But it was just so shocking to go in my garage so we could view the footage in the darkness, then to come right out on the deck and here comes another one. Or was it the same one?
that interesting. Yeah, because we had the pilot from the Tic Tac incident, Alex Dietrich, the female, the wingman of Dave Fravor, was on with us like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And we didn't want to do a show about the Tic Tac because we know she's kind of irritated talking about it. But someone in the chat asked, so we had to ask. And the question was, when David, the lead pilot, engaged it, did it zoom past her windscreen, or did it just disappear and then reappear at the cap point? And she was incredulous at why that was interesting, but she said it just disappeared.
Interesting.
It's a game changer, right? Because if it just
Yeah.
zooms away, a certain type of propulsion doesn't sort of blow your mind as much as something Star Trek, where it is there and then it's gone, right? That freaks you out.
Well, so I wonder, did it cloak or did it teleport?
So one or the other, but both of those would be more fascinating than you visually seeing it accelerating away. That was the point that we were trying to get across to her, but I think she's just done talking about that. So, but I understood why that individual in the chat asked, because that is a game changer from that standpoint. Because we can imagine hypersonic technology. We are not yet at Star Trek, the Romulan cloaking device, right, Alex? Or, just the teleportation from, or that a portal opened up and it went through that and ended up at their cap point, which was 59 miles away.
So I forgot a part of the story. I forgot. You remember I said it was going around that tree, just like it was examining this pine tree. So I thought after maybe a week, I went, I'm going to go check that tree out, see if there's any change in the vegetation. So I go to the tree, and what do I find? A parasitic deciduous tree that had wrapped I've never seen that in a pine tree. A deciduous tree had like strangling that pine tree.
Really?
Wrapped around it. And I thought, well, was that there when it was it examining the tree because it was weird? And I thought that could be. In other words, what is this thing's job? Maybe its job is to, just collect data. Maybe it is a drone, an alien drone of some sort. But the fact that it had gone around that tree a number of times, and the fact there was a parasitic tree in there, it took forever to get that parasitic tree cut out of there. It was strangling my black spruce.
That's
so
really
maybe that's
weird.
what it was circling. I just thrown it out there. I don't know.
Was it embedded in the tree, or did it look like?
Oh yeah,
it
was
recent? It was
embedded.
embedded. You had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was hard to get it out. I would imagine it was there before that. That's why it was looking at that tree, because it couldn't figure it out.
Maybe that I mean, that's as good a hypothesis as any. We don't know why they're here and what they're doing. That's the question that we really want to ask. We know that they're here. We know that what they're doing through a human lens, we would assess as intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Yeah. But that's just through a human lens. We have no idea actually what they're doing.
So I want to pose a question. I've never done this before, and I brought every single person in chat to just say yes or no. It can be a one-word answer. Do you believe that UFOs are real? What's it? Are there any holdout skeptics yet? Are they real? Question. And then below your other answer, then type in what you think they are. I really do want to see that in chat. I'm really curious.
Have you seen the Agua Dia video by chance from 2013, Doug? The reason I ask you that, and I'll coordinate with Alex to
spell
get
it
to you and
tell us.
send it.
Spell
Agua
you mean water.
Agua-Dilla.
Water.
Agua Dia. Yeah.
Agua.
It was filmed in Puerto Rico by Customs and Border Patrol aircraft. And the reason I ask you that is because it was shape-shifting as it was flying. It flew right over an airfield. They followed it, and it's one of the first instances we've ever seen of a UAP where you see it traveling over just, houses, straight line, not diverting left, right.
So
up,
sorry,
down.
DJ. I was looking at the chat. Did you want me to pull up this video?
If you want to show it to your dad, I think it might be interesting for the shape-shifting aspect. Agua Dia. And then you'll see where it goes into the water, but it doesn't splash. And it goes along with the Jeremy Corbell, where one of the craft the videos he was sent, you see it go in the water, but there's no splash.
And what would be the search term to find this? You said aqua. Something?
Agua. So AGUA. DILLA UAP. It's from 2013. And Scientific Coalition for UAP did a whole paper on this one, but don't know what it is.
The splitting orb UFO above Puerto Rico?
That is. Yeah, it splits in two at one point over the water.
Okay.
That's the first time it slows down.
I could then I want to maybe find something else. That's the History Channel. They'll just
you want like a YouTube. Agua Dia, Puerto Rico, UAP, something like those search terms.
Yeah, at least don't play any sound. But hey, thank you everybody for responding. I didn't see anybody that. But imagine the next question is, are they from other planets or other dimensions? That's another question that's seems to be kind of where it's going now, because that's what even David Grush is. If you read between the lines, that's what he's saying. They're not from other planets. They're right here. They're from other dimensions. Don't you agree?
He can't know all of them, right? He can only have any insight on ones that crashed, that they're reverse engineering, and that he was given information about, which was the substance of his whistleblower complaint. But he can't know about every entity that's
no, of course not. Yeah, nobody can.
But it's a sexy hypothesis at the moment, and it's well founded in certain for good reason.
Thing moves like a ping pong ball.
Is this the one, DJ?
I'm trying to see because I don't see it moving. Maybe that is it. Does it say 2013?
By the way,
there you go. Yeah, what this is news coverage of it. You'll see it split into the other video. It kind of goes along. You'll see houses. You'll see it fly like they have to shut down an airport. Here it goes in the water, and then it comes out. So
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that one right there, the pyramid. I've seen some stuff official on that, and that to me is one of the most amazing things I've seen in my life.
You're talking about the triangular shaped.
Yes, they are actually pyramid. And
I want to see the black ball split in two.
Yeah, that's that's probably going to be a different video if you're going to want to see it.
Okay.
I could Google it while you and Alex chat. I want to hear about Alex during this interview too. I don't know anything about it.
Well, I've got some clips, by the way, everybody. I've got Doug's clips, but they're all UFO related, and then we can all kind of discuss them.
Well, me and Blaine have a surprise for you today,
what?
Dad. We got yeah. We're gonna play it on the air.
Okay.
Why don't we do that, DJ, while you look for the clip?
Okay, I'm on it.
Surprise for me. Better be interesting.
All right, buckle up.
Turn up the dial, feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes.
that scoop, unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories that talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, the secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries live. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Awesome.
Oh, man, that wasn't easy to find, but I'm gonna send it to you in the DM.
That's pretty awesome. I have some very creative offspring. That was good.
You do, you do. I wonder where they got that from.
I don't
I
know.
learned it
Good
from
job.
someone.
That was fun. Yeah, that was really fun. That was creative as hell.
There it is in the chat, Alex. It took a while. It was way down there.
Okay, thanks
So-
for finding that. Yeah, that was tough.
brother.
I'll throw it up. Let's see here.
We'll have to pay DJ at the end of the show.
No, man. This, you know what? I mean, basically, I'm in this. You know what? I got something for you, Doug. I'm gonna make sure you have a can of my DJ skincare formula.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's all organic, okay?
Yeah, I want some.
That's Nathan's face on there, my co-creator of Cab.
Oh, geez, that's awesome. All right,
Okay,
what is
so-
this footage? This is amazing.
So interesting thing is we don't know what it is, but you can see that and you'll see it better like when you guys have a look on a bigger screen, but you can see it's kind of shape shifting as it's moving.
Yeah, because even the one that I'll play next week, the one I filmed right here, it's shape shifting as I'm filming it too. As it's darting through the clouds, you can just see it changing shape. Yeah, it's cool.
And now watch it fly right over the airport. You know, controllers are probably freaking out right now because they don't know what it is. Customs and Border Patrol is, I'm trying to remember the name of the aircraft that they had. It's a twin engine one that they use, has sensors on it.
Mm-hmm.
From the looks of this, look pretty good sensors.
That thing is booking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's booking, man.
And it doesn't care. It's, you know what I mean? It's not trying to divert course for anything.
No.
And now it's getting lost in what we call a little bit of ground clutter there. You can see.
Man. Do aliens and UFOs freak you out, Alex, as a younger person?
Yeah. There's definitely the nightmare feel of being abducted.
So you're old enough. See, you're kind of in that. I don't think the young people, like in the ones that are like 18, they don't really care. I don't even think they care. They just grew up with all this stuff. They're just used to it. But you're in your 30s, so you feel probably a little freaky about this stuff yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the idea of something being so powerful that pretty much all of humanity is
Yeah.
a speck of dust.
Could you imagine though, DJ, being in your home, whatever, just get ready to go to bed, and you turn around
Oh no.
and there is an alien, maybe even a little one, standing there. How would you react? I would probably get goosebumps like I've never gotten in my life. And I would probably jump, get really startled. Then I'd probably get a hold of myself and probably try to communicate with it, I guess. But I would get real scared before that happened. What about you?
So for me to say how I would react would be the same as me saying how I would react in the presence of Bigfoot. I can talk all day about how I would react, and then in the moment, I really don't know. I would assume the worst. I can tell you that if you check on my show back to Jim Semivan, and do you know who Jim Semivan? You know who he
No,
is?
sir.
So Jim Semivan was a colleague of Lou Elizondo. You know who he is
Yes.
in the To the Stars Academy.
Yep.
And he actually still is, I believe, current vice president at To the Stars Academy,
Okay.
even though Lou has left. Jim spent 25 years in the CIA. He was a counterintelligence operative, foreign service officer, if you will. So when we had him on, we had a friend who was also in the CIA as an analyst named John Ramirez. So we said, John, would you like to co-host that episode? It's something we do on Cab. You may end up being co-host, either both of you so, on an episode, right? So so Jim told us that he in his home in Virginia, he woke up and saw two beings standing there, and his wife saw it also. So what do you say to somebody like that? I mean, it was the same thing when you and you could tell it's affected him based on him reaching out to experiencer groups and trying to deal with it. There
Yeah.
was more that he wouldn't tell us. So imagine what what he might have experienced if he told us that, but wouldn't go beyond that.
Yeah, I guess part of it would be how it all kind of played out. If I was in my bedroom and something or a couple of creatures walked into the bedroom, I probably wouldn't be as scared as I would be if I was just going about my business in my living room and turned around and one was just right there. That would really startle the living crap out of me. And you have, I mean, what would you do, Alex? I'm serious.
I mean,
It's a
I've been
serious
startled
question.
when my girlfriend sneaks up. I turn around and she's there. I can't imagine an alien in the doorway.
But what do you think you would do? Would you get teared up? Would you scream? Would you run? Would you fight? What would you do?
I'd probably freeze, have a heart attack, and yelp.
Gosh.
I mean, it's like Travis Walton, right? Like, I mean, here's a, sort of rough and tumble logger, and what was his reaction? His reaction was he was terrified. And did you guys, there's another one I think that you guys should have a listen to at your leisure. It's an audio of a guy named, he just passed away, Calvin Parker and Charlie Hickson, right?
Yep, I'm very well aware of that case. Yeah, down
that
in
Pascagoula.
Louisiana, yeah.
So if you listen to what ended up happening is the sheriff, when he brought these two guys in, he wanted to see if they had lost their marbles. So he put a tape recorder.
He hid it like under the desk or whatever.
Hid in the desk,
yep,
right?
Yep.
And you can hear them, and they're genuinely terrified. And they're
the audio just got released, didn't it? Or
not that long ago. I heard it.
I just got an email from another publisher who did the book with Calvin.
Yeah, he's a British guy, right?
Yeah, British guy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Super nice guy, and we have some of his authors on occasion. He just sent me the email tonight, and I was hoping the audio would be in the email. It wasn't.
He can get it for you. I'm sure he's got it.
Oh yeah.
Good,
so I really want to hear that.
Whatever the best recording is. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
They were terrified. So, I mean, I'd like to think like you, Doug. I'd like to think I would, in my mind, I'm going to try to communicate with anything, but you never know, do you?
No, I might just downright just give them the boot. Just give them a karate kick.
Well, they can't be there for anything good if they're sneaking up on you. Especially if it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, but that's kind of what they do. I mean, based on eyewitnesses that have this, it's kind of what they do, which is why I'm not so crazy about them. They kind of are sneaky, I mean, I don't hear any abductees going.
Even I'm your son, and think if you were in your bedroom and you turn around, I'm just in the doorway.
They don't ring the doorbell.
I snuck into your house, went up the stairs.
Yeah, well, I could deal with that better because I got a gun right next to my bed,
okay.
And that baby is loaded.
Boom.
So that's why I say if they're going to come get me, come on in the bedroom. Come on, bring it on.
Bring it on.
We'll find out if you're interdimensional.
You'll see.
He'll answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's for
454 Magnum sitting right there. That'll put him back in a different dimension.
He wants to test there.
But and I don't even know if I'd react that way. I'm joking, of course, but it does give you a little security, though. You know what I mean? Going, okay, you're gonna be nice. What do you want? What are you gonna do? You're gonna plop one of my eyeballs out on a tray, or what are you gonna do to me? You want to visit? You know what I mean? I hear the craziest stuff.
So You remember Nathan, my co-host, who I was just on the photo? Well, he has another show with another guy whose name on Twitter, his name's Darren King, but his handle is Exo Academian. He's a brilliant thinker and speaker. He had his first experience was what you described. They were in a hotel room where you have the parents' bed and then you have the kids' bed, and they saw a being standing at the foot of his bed. He and his wife both woke up and saw it. And that's before he really got deeply into this topic. I think that's what brought him into this topic was that experience. And since then, he's been to the Monroe Institute. He's went and visited with Chris Bledsoe because Chris was at the Monroe
Yeah, I know
Institute
that. It's down in Georgia or Alabama or somewhere. Yeah.
North Carolina. Yeah, he's in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, Fayetteville. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
He's down south. Yeah.
Yep.
I had a being in my room, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not positive it wasn't a dream, but I wake up and there's a hooded figure. This is in the 70s.
Oh my God.
In the 70s, just staring at me. He's got a hood on. And I
Oh, my
remember
God.
thinking, you look like my cousin. When I had a cousin who had kind of wide set eyes. Don't ask me. But he had wide set eyes, and I thought it was like I related to him. And then, of course, I realized, okay, my cousin's not going to be standing in my bedroom with a hood on. And I'm staring at it, like trying to figure it out. It's kind of low light. There's light in the bedroom, but it's low light. There's like a nightlight, a little nightlight. And I get up and I kind of keep my eyes on this thing standing there. And I get up and I took my eyes off only to hit the switch, to find the switch. And it was gone. I've never had another experience. But did you ever read The Roper? I think it's called The Roper Poll.
No.
The Roper Poll came out many years later.
Uh-huh.
And it was done by John Mack and somebody else, maybe Bud Hopkins.
But
they had just sent this poll out. And one of the questions in the poll, in this questionnaire, to find out if you'd been abducted was, have you ever had a hooded figure in your room, in your bedroom? And I read that, and it was like 20 years later, and I'm like, crap.
But only Doug Hajicek would be like, there's some sort of a demon in the room, and he's like, hey, you look like my cousin.
Yeah, I thought that was
hilarious.
That looked like my cousin.
So Deb in the chat said two things. She says, they have to meet me outside. Home invasion doesn't work for me. And she also wanted you to know that Jim Semivans was a hooded figure. Deb, thank you, because I did not remember that at all. So apparently you saw this something similar to what he saw.
Where's this comment, Alex? Can you put that up? You should have given DJ the power to do that.
It's a study of UAPs.
Oh, there we go.
Not that one.
Oh, that. Yeah, that's
that her
was
being
funny.
No,
I love that.
This one right here.
Jim. Oh, really? It was hooded too. Ugh. What's with the hood?
I need to go back and listen to that because it's the most popular episode we've ever done.
But this was
we've had Lou Elizondo on, and Jim Semivan drew more people than anybody. So,
well, just remember my story takes place in the 70s, probably like 73 or 4.
Why is that significant, though?
Well, it's significant because this information wasn't made public yet.
Right.
Well, until the 90s.
Right. You didn't know about Travis Walton yet because his didn't happen.
I didn't know about any of this
75.
stuff. I didn't know. I hardly had even heard about alien abductions. Betty and Barney Hill was the only one I'd ever heard of.
Right.
I never even considered that thing in my room to be an alien. I didn't know what the hell it was. But the hooded figure in that Roper Poll was like, ooh.
That's really scary, man. Really scary.
It is scary. And it is traumatic. It really was.
Do you want to tell about the one on the roadside that you told me? Because your audience hasn't heard that yet.
The white story, Mr.
Yeah,
White.
that's pretty big, man.
Yeah, thanks, TJ.
No, it's good, man. This is good.
So I was driving down the suburban road, right? Trying to get to my home late at night, 3 a.m, And out ahead, I see what looks like a woman walking a big dog. That's what I think. And I think that she's like in her robe. It's early in the morning. Figure the dog woke her up. She's got, you know what I mean? I figure she's got curlers in her hair because I'm seeing this big head. And it's all white. And I just figure she's got a white robe, probably a white dog. And I'm just seeing everything at a certain angle because she was leaning way back. Like it's freaky. Like a big dog she's leaning against. But as I get closer, there ain't no dog. I get closer, there's no clothing. There's no robe. And the head just smooth. It's big, but smooth. But it doesn't have huge eyes. It's got small eyes. But they're mean looking. And as I get closer, the thing turns and looks right in my window as I drive by. And I drove by, and the thing walked into the woods right away. I mean, just did a right angle turn and went from the sidewalk into the woods. Yeah, and that's where your brother lived for a while. And when Blaine moved in there, I go, Blaine, you realize you moved in right where I saw Mr. White? And he goes, don't tell me that.
Oh,
And is this, are there houses? Is it walking past houses at this point?
Oh, yeah. It was on the sidewalk.
Suburban. Okay, so when you
So I
say
saw it
suburban,
cross
you mean
the
it's
street,
walking. Okay.
right, from my right to left.
Okay.
And then it was walking towards me on the sidewalk on the left side as I'm going slow, very slow, but not too slow in case it's just a lady out for a morning walk. I don't want to freak anybody out, thinking
Right.
I'm going to
Abduct.
but I'm going slow enough to where I can really observe. But when I realized what it was, then I really slowed down, and it just turned its head, gave me the dirtiest look. I mean, it was not a good look. I'll be honest. It was a mean look. And I just drove, and I was just in shock. I didn't sleep that night. Thinking,
It's very much like a Bigfoot encounter.
well, it was like this thing's walking around our damn neighborhood. What's that all about?
It's. I mean, there's so many questions and just there's so few answers. There really is.
There is. There's a real interesting story I heard from a guy that worked in our office forever. And he said he got up one night, he gets up, and he goes out to have a smoke on the back deck or something. And there's a big, huge thing blocking the stars out, like a big triangle. And he's looking at this, and he can see it kind of like it's trying to camouflage itself, but it's huge. It's like heat coming off it. And he watches it for quite a while. And finally, when he realized, damn, this is really real, and it's really over my house, and it's like a half a mile wide. So he goes in and he flips his lamp upside down. So he knows that this event happens. So then he goes outside the front door because he's like, he wants to see this craft again. And instead of seeing the craft, even caring about the craft, he sees this big, giant wheeled vehicle coming down the suburban road with a bunch of aliens out front of this big, huge, wheeled vehicle.
Like some sort of an alien truck.
I don't know,
vehicle?
like an alien garbage truck.
Garbage. Wow.
Probably
garbage
throwing
truck.
cats and dogs in there. I don't know. But he wakes up then the next morning, and there's the lamp upside down. So he knew it really happened.
It happened. Right. It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my town is in my area, my county is very famous for UFO sightings. It's called the Hudson Valley UFO Flap. There have been books by, I don't know, Linda Zimmerman's written 4 or 5 books. Dr. J. Allen Hynek co-authored a book and came to our town.
Linda's
I have
amazing.
probably, what's that?
Linda is amazing.
She is just a brilliant, lovely person. She grew up maybe right across the Hudson River from me, actually. In any case, I've interviewed some high school classmates, and probably 6 or 7 have had giant triangle UFO sightings over our town. So it's quite real. I've enough people, their parents. One of my friends, she's a mom now of a college age kid, but her dad was a police officer. It was daytime. It was in the backyard having a barbecue. They saw it. And she said she's never seen her dad just stand there with his mouth agape like that. So, but
Crazy. That's nuts.
two things. This will straddle UFOs and Bigfoot. And Jim Semivan talked about this as well in trying to explain to Deb about why the government isn't more transparent, which none of us agree with. I don't agree with it. But you also try to understand it, even if you don't agree with it. And he said the government doesn't like to talk about things that they can't explain. And while they have craft, obviously, according to Dave Grush, we had only heard rumor of that. We didn't know that with any great source that has a TSSCI polygraph clearance like he does with recency to come out and say that and have the intelligence community inspector general deem his claims urgent and credible. And then, of course, he was just, as you know, he had hearings. He's been in the skiff with these congressmen. So we know that they have craft. He says that they have biologics. I don't have any reason not to believe him.
Okay, biologics. Let's talk about that. Do you think they have? Okay, if an alien's interdimensional and he can just think his way into another dimension, they wouldn't be able to capture it because it would just think its way out of the jail if they put it in or whatever room they stuck it in. Do you think we're talking only dead bodies, or do you think we've had live aliens actually captured?
I believe we have live aliens based on a few different sources.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is a friend of David Grush, who, has told me some things. And so there's that. And also our earlier discussion when we suggested or we posited the idea that they're all interdimensional. And I said, no, we don't know about all.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know all. We know some. And they hypothesize some based on things that they know that we don't. And the fact that we've seen them appear, people have seen them appear out of some crevice in the sky and disappear that way, and transmedium where they go into the water and they come out of the water. So I don't know all those trails, but there's a lot of those things that have we had hypothesized interdimensionality before David Grush said that. He's confirmed these things. So, but not all. And that's where we get back to the beings.
I want to interrupt you because I want to change the topic and I want to get into some clips. But have you heard, and Alex, this goes for everybody, please comment on this. Have you guys heard, like there was a conversation between Tucker Carlson and some other journalist, I can't remember his name, but they were saying, so I've been told the truth by some insiders.
Yes.
And it's so dark, I don't even want to tell my wife.
Yes, and we've heard that from Jim Semivan, and we've heard it from Lou Elizondo.
Yeah, Lou said the same damn
and from
thing.
Richard Doty. Yes.
So what do you think they're let's speculate on what they're maybe referring to.
Well, let Alex go first.
Alex, what do you think? They're so dark, they don't even want to tell their wife or family. It's so icky. And there's a spirit there. They always say, yeah, there's a spiritual factor to all this. So that's kind of like really confusing.
I mean, it sounds like maybe our government's making a deal with the devil. I don't mean like the real devil, but I mean like, you know what I mean? Like they're making deals with aliens. Maybe they're allowing people to be taken. They know
Killed,
about it.
Yeah.
Killed,
eaten,
mutilated, eaten.
You can eat. You can eat 100 a year. That's no more.
Yeah,
no
maybe
more.
100,000 a year.
That's scary to think about that. So you think it has to do with maybe a deal that if we found out about, we'd be PO'd.
Yeah, and maybe it's you let us do this, or we're gonna vaporize the whole.
And you believe
planet.
that Eisenhower? I mean Eisenhower deal where he apparently did a deal where they could abduct people in exchange for some technology, blah blah blah. Do you believe that deal happened with Eisenhower, David?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Alex.
No, I was talking to you.
And hey, Flat Rock, how are you? I got to meet him, Alabama researcher.
Yeah, I hear he's a pretty cool dude.
He's got some
Smart
he's
guy.
got some interesting things at his property.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did not believe that story and it goes to show you that even I say to keep my mind open, and then you'll see me closing off to an idea like that, and I find
Yeah.
myself doing that, and then I have to course correct because David said that there have been some sort of agreements made, and relative to what are maybe the most disturbing elements that they don't want us to know about. I believe that would be if they have an idea of how many people have been abducted and have not come back.
Well, I had heard
David,
I mean, this goes back into the 80s. I used to be good friends with a guy I'd go fishing with a lot, and he was an Air Force man down from New Mexico. What's I can never think of the big Air Force base.
Kirtland Air Force Base. White
No,
Sands.
it wasn't that one.
White Sands.
Wasn't White Sands.
Alamogordo is
maybe that's
there's one in Alamogordo. I can't think of the name
but
of it.
Just a couple of quick stories. He said that one of the technologies that we traded, he told me this story back in the 80s about Eisenhower meeting. He said one of the technologies we got from the aliens was the manufacturing of interferon. Have you heard that anywhere else?
I've never heard that. No.
I haven't either.
Possible.
But I'm hearing this from a guy in the 80s who was a whistleblower just to me. Okay.
No, I've heard it's possible. Yeah.
He told me things that they would have to go out and sweep the runways for days to make sure the runways were just spotless, and they would lock everybody up in a hangar. Something would land, and there would be some kind of meeting, and then it would be gone. There would be silent, but they'd have to sweep the runways. And I just thought, I've never heard that either from anybody else. You're hearing it first here.
There was, I agree, David Paulides missing 4011. That hypothesis is pretty interesting.
Yep.
But there's an Air Force base in Alamogordo, and Deb could probably speak to this a little better than I, but there was a landing of a craft on one end of the runway that was viewed by a lot more people than the Air Force would have wanted.
Is that the one that Gordon Cooper?
No, that was earlier. That was in the 60s. This, I believe, was in the 70s or 80s. The Gordon Cooper was at Edwards Air Force Base. That one.
Interesting.
But very same. But you know what? The scenario was the same. Little landing gear came out, and they said it kind of came down like a leaf, like this, as opposed to the what we would envision a solid rocket booster or the lunar lander.
Came down like a leaf. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, something like that. So,
very interesting.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I don't have good sources on those. Those are, a lot of these things are things we've just heard about. A Holloman Air Force Base. Thank you, Debs. Until, you get a guy like a Grush who basically gave up an extremely lucrative career or two to come out with this information.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, my wife would not be happy if I did sacrifice what he did.
Yeah, no, he really did. But hopefully it's all going to work out. I hope. But he is very articulate.
That he stood to make is extremely lucrative that he would have made that he will now not get. Or if he does get, I don't know his exact years in service, it'll be a fraction of what he would have gotten. So,
all right, let's see what time is. Okay, Alex, let's play. Let's go to my clips. I've got some interesting clips this week, I think, that we can all kind of talk about. Throw clip 1 on. There's no sound. This is interesting because I wanted people to guess what this is. Is this a bear? Is it a baby Bigfoot? What's up in the tree? Go ahead and play.
Jeff, I see you with element 115. We can get into that later.
Yeah. Unobtainium, wasn't it? Something like that.
I've heard that word, but
yeah,
I've heard element 1.
Okay. So let's go ahead and play that with sound, Alex.
With no sound, right?
No, with No, what sound?
What sound? Okay.
Oh, no sound's needed, I guess. Nah, it's not needed. Just play it. So this woman films this. She's trying to figure out what she's looking at and then gets scared and runs away. Any ideas?
Oh boy, Doug, this is your territory because I can't see
Chat, any
nothing.
ideas on what we're...
See the hands or the feet?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Is that a
Could be just
bear
a
or a
tree
baby
bear, right?
Bigfoot? Well, I just saw this clip yesterday and I immediately debunked it. I had a hunch of what I thought it was. It is nothing more than what they call a black fungus knot.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
all it is. It's big. They get this big. It is simply, the thing never moved, never breathed. And I understand a creature could get scared and hold tight. I get that. But this thing was really tight. I think there would have been some movement, some breathing at least. There's nothing. So I'm thinking
We need a tree doctor. We got to call the tree doc.
Yeah. So this is, it's basically, it's a fungus disease, and these tree knots get bigger and bigger every year. So that's all it is. But that shows you how easy it is to be fooled by something that this woman was not trying to do a hoax.
Sure.
I mean, I really believe that. She was just petrified by what she saw. And they're also called tree gulls. Throw up clip 1A.
Tree gulls.
Alex. Huh?
That's great.
Not balls, tree gulls.
Tree gulls. That's what I said. Tree gulls.
Gall.
No, the tree balls are later.
Yeah, tree balls are coming
Yes.
up.
Yeah, just wait. Dude, they're coming.
All right, clip 1A. There's an example of how they start.
Yeah.
You can see the texture is the same. See, one of the things on that thing up in the tree, it's just like, that does not look like hair or fur. It didn't fit into either category. So I knew that anytime you go, this just doesn't fit. Well, usually you just got to dig more. So we have clip 1A, then throw up clip 1B. Another one. Obviously not the shape of a Bigfoot, but it's kind of got a Bigfoot head. Yeah. And then clip 1C. There's another one. Depends on what tree they grow on too. On fruit trees, apparently they get a lot more contained. So anyhow, if you see something like this in the dark, I could see someone think, it's a Bigfoot. Throw up clip 1D. This is a true tree gull right there. Yeah, it looks like it could be a butt, but it also looks like it could be a Bigfoot standing behind the tree. And you can just see how things like this could, in the dark, could really freak a person out.
Definitely.
So anyhow, I just wanted to bring it up.
That's a good one.
Just make people aware. One of the biggest things, DJ, when I get samples in for scientific testing is fungus, is string fungus or hair fungus, they call it. And it's very brittle. Everybody, if you're in doubt whether something's hair, just bend it. Hair does not break.
Right.
This tree fungus or this hair fungus snaps. You don't need to be gentle with hair. It's stronger now. So there you go. All right. So clip 2. Now we'll go skip clip 2. I'll get that next week. Clip 3. And this is another new whistleblower, chief meteorologist from the Navy. And I'm sure you know about this guy, DJ. But I'm curious.
Oh, Tim Gallaudet. Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah. See, you know someone. Is that him?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and play this.
I think it's about time that we do disclose that we are in contact with non-human intelligence. That's what needs to be put out there in the public.
Tim Gallaudet has spent a career serving his country. First in the Navy, working in areas like aircraft carrier.
These are some high-test people.
And assisting Navy SEAL teams during counter-terrorism operations.
Why do you think there is this cover-up? What are they concealing?
This is technology we're still trying to learn about, and it could give us an advantage in any military conflict. What you have going on right now are, again, legacy classified programs, special access programs, and without congressional direction and White House policy, that's not going to change. One of my jobs in the Navy, I was the chief meteorologist of the Navy at the time when Ryan was encountering the UAP off the U.S. East Coast. People know that I received a secret email with the Go Fast video attached to it from my boss's operations officer, where I learned now that these were happening and occurring in training airspace and causing near midair collisions. So that safety issue is important. And I couldn't believe, well, I understood why, but the Navy didn't do anything about that. And then they actually pulled back that email from my computer on the secret network.
Clearly, you believe there's a cover-up.
Yes.
There we go. More and more of these guys coming out. There's no way they're not going to get this genie back in the bottle.
No, I mean they're going to try, because there's a lot of things tied up in it. There could be, the more as the time goes on, I wasn't too sure that there could be legal action taken against individuals, against organizations, people that are alive that can be identified by victims. But I spoke with a guy that is connected to Grush. He's a friend of mine, and when he talks about people being threatened, and he talks about people being intimidated and they fear for their life, he gets it's emotional, and that makes them want to come and bring this to light, because what they're doing is both illegal and it's immoral.
Yeah.
From that standpoint. Now, we could argue about what should be released, because national security must be maintained. That is, but that doesn't mean that you can't give people the true nature of what's out there and what we're experiencing without telling them how we've
right. Why couldn't they? Why couldn't they
technologies.
just logline it? Just give us a brief summary. They don't need to get into details.
Right. No, that's what should have happened. And the longer they go, the more painful that's going to be, because the ball of string just keeps getting bigger. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and the same thing can be said for Bigfoot. I mean, it's they know it's out there. I'm sure they've probably gotten a couple of them, maybe out on like a range, like out in the Fort Lewis range or something like that. And I had somebody say to me, "Oh, I don't think there's a grand conspiracy to cover this up." And I said, "Well, first of all, we're using a word conspiracy. Maybe there isn't a grand conspiracy. Maybe every park ranger or a forest ranger is not briefed, hey, this is something that you can't talk about, and they get some sort of a classified brief." No, I don't think that's happening. But obviously something's happening, because a lot of the people that you've interviewed and a lot of people I've spoken to have spoken to forest rangers and officials at places like Yellowstone, and that have said, yes, we know that these creatures are there, and we just don't, we don't talk about it. Well, is it better to brief people that something's out there and how to act accordingly than to just let them traipse off into the woods and not knowing that they might encounter one of these?
I think the federal government should just give us, if there's national security issues, give us the log line. Just give us the summary.
And what should they tell us about Bigfoot, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Do you think the feds, and I mean the federal government,
that
there is a group within the federal government, or the federal government in general, know that they're real? I would imagine they do. They have to.
Yes, I'd put it at 100%.
Yeah.
I just don't. Again, I wouldn't use the word conspiracy, but people say, well, it's hard to keep secrets. That's not true. There are many, and David said that there are many thousands of secrets that people have signed NDAs that they won't know about. Bigfoot could be one of them. What I would want to know is this a SAP held within the Department of Interior? It's in the Bureau of Land Management. What agencies are briefed up? How does that information filter down to at least state officials? But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a conspiracy. I think it's more of like let's call it a standard operating procedure.
Yeah.
that sounds more likely because with Bigfoot, there's so many states and so many officials from, going from federal, state, county, all the way down to local park officials that are aware of people having sightings. Too many people would have to be read into something like that. But I
Yeah.
think you could have a standard operating procedure. And I heard a California forest ranger that was interviewed about his boot camp up there in California, and he said that they were briefed on it.
Well, there was a story I heard. And I don't want to give the guy's name. He's a pretty well known guy, but he claims he did a study for officials in Yellowstone, followed a family group. This guy had the skill to do it. I know he did. Came back with a report and gave a report to some officials of what he found. And that's fascinating to me. Who knows? I think it's a disorganized cover-up with Bigfoot. I don't think it's real organized. I think the UFO thing, because the military is involved in the UFO thing, I think it's much more organized. But yeah, I think there is a cover-up kind of grassroots. One, the lower end, they're just embarrassed just to bring it up. And the higher ends don't talk about it. So there you go. It's kind of polarized.
You need to make people sound like they're a nutcase.
Yeah.
And that's enough for a lot of people just to not talk about it. And I agree with you. There's no national security implications relative to Bigfoot.
I don't think
people
so,
have surmised the lumber industry and in the national park industry and all the, and they're, that could be part of it, but I doubt, I don't know that at the Department of Interior level, at the executive level, at the secretary level, they're talking about, we got to make sure Weyerhaeuser, and protect their lumber. I think that it's really just something
I'll give you my exact. I think they would be worried about people actively maybe trying to hunt them down.
Sure.
And just kill them. I think they just do it maybe just to protect them. I don't know. And if they're interdimensional and all that kind of stuff, well, then they're going to cover it up because they have supernatural powers that we do not possess.
I think it goes back to what Jim Semivan said, and it comports with what I know to be true after, I've got like 30 years in government total, and they don't like to talk about things that they can't explain.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I agree.
Jim, you go back and listen to him saying they know more than we know, obviously, but they don't understand the complete nature of UAP. Why there's so many more questions. Why are they here? Are they going to hurt us? I mean, can you imagine a press conference of what someone would say at a White House press conference if the president said, yes, they are here and they're surveilling us. Okay, well, why are they here? What are they doing? What could they do to us? Do we have anything that can stop them? What are our defenses like? Has there been any aggression? Have they? And you could see, I could just go on a rant. Well, the same thing, these similar questions could be asked about Bigfoot. Have they hurt anybody? Have they killed anybody? Should I go hiking? I mean, should I cancel my trip? How about the national park? Should we stop going? It could really spin out of control if you had
look. They won't even admit there's cougars in most of the states.
Right? Yeah. They don't have Black Panthers here. And Jeb last night just saw one.
Yeah. Oh, they're everywhere. By the way, I do want to thank Tim Halloran from Bigfoot Influencers, who's on the Untold Radio Network. Also, by the way, I see Jeff is here from Pine Island Research. Jeff is taking a break. He's coming back with Pine Island Research again. He had stuff he had to take care of. As
Doug,
you know, everybody, we get rich on podcasting, right, DJ?
Yeah. Can I give a shout out to these guys real quick?
Yeah, but Jeff. I was just going to mention Tim introduced us.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say that too. Tim, thank you for introducing me to Doug and now Alex. And they both have great hair. You know that. Jeff, I dig your show. And I actually thought you were Doug. So I'm glad that when I heard your voice and I heard Doug's voice, I mean, not being from Minnesota, but I found out Doug is actually Doug and you're you.
And Jeff
But
is
both you
Jeff,
guys are
yeah.
awesome. So I listen to your show as well.
Anyhow, well, it's good. We've got a lot of great people in chat. We really appreciate all the activity and you guys spending your time with us. Okay, so where do we want to go? Let's do this clip from Lockheed Martin. Don Phillips. I would imagine you've seen this clip a million times.
Let's see.
Have you? All right, clip 4. Sounds good. Turn it up.
We can safely say that, yes, there were some captured craft from 1945 or 47, was it? In Roswell, New Mexico. And yeah, they were real. And yes, we really did get some technology from them. And yes, we really did put it to work. And we can thank people in the United States Army to have the foresight to put these into industry for the benefit of the people of the world. I know this to be a fact.
Pretty to the point.
But it took us a long time to figure out what it was and then figure out how we can use it and then what to use it for. And are those products useful for humanity? I didn't see the craft, nor did I see the bodies, but I certainly know some of the people that did. And of course, they're passed on now from their earthly bodies, but there was no question that there are people or beings from outside the planet that have lived here for a long time. And it isn't just something new that's been happening in the last couple of years. There's been NATO research conducted, joint research, joint meaning many different countries.
All right, Alex, that's enough of that.
This,
we get the idea. The real statement is this guy at Skunk Works, man. I mean, guys like him to come forward and go, "Yep, we got this technology and we put it to use and whatever." It's pretty amazing. It's pretty.
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that one.
Why?
There's a conflict of interest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But isn't Skunk Works private? Or are they part of the military?
I can't.
That's fine. No problem.
Yeah, I can't get into that one. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. That's why we have you on here. And then clip 5 is John Ramirez. He's recently come forward. Are you familiar with him?
He's a friend of mine. Yeah, he was on.
Oh, he is.
The Semivan episode. Yeah.
Oh, great. We'll just play this. Sounds good. You have to play the whole clip.
And there are beings in these craft. They're here for a purpose, for a reason. And that reason is not so much to warn us of impending doom or anything like that, but to remind us that we're stewards of this planet. And I believe we are also extraterrestrials. I think we were brought here and that we forgot our origins and that some of the beings that are being encountered by humans today have been here a long, long time. And they may have had some input into how we developed and that they have our best interests in mind, but they're concerned about the stewardship of the planet, that we're doing a terrible job of taking care of their planet and our planet, and that when we explode nuclear weapons in our atmosphere like we did decades ago, it not only affected us, it affected them as well. And so that's why they're so interested in us, especially after what we call the nuclear age dawned upon us, that we now have the means to destroy ourselves. By destroying ourselves, we're also destroying them. I think we're their children, and that they have, like a concerned parent, they want us to grow up, but they're giving us enough leeway to become cosmic adults, if you will. And that once we become cosmic adults, we can then join them in the full knowledge of our true origins and why we're here and what our purpose is. And perhaps we can then join them in becoming a spacefaring planet.
There we go. That's interesting. By the way, I want to say thank Jennifer, and we've got Bristol, a member. We just want to thank people. Really do appreciate y'all. Big time. He's always so kind too. Super kind.
Hey, how's it going?
Yep.
Westchester brother there.
So what do we have next? Let's do one soundbite on David, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Clip 7. Sounds
Ramirez
good.
is an awesome guy, by the way. Great guy. Experiencer as well, like yourself.
Who is?
John Ramirez.
Oh, no, this isn't. This is something else. Now, that's not clip 7.
We're not alone.
There we go.
We've recovered material and we've recovered the occupants. And beyond that, the president can decide what should be disclosed. It's above my pay grade.
Can you just give us a sense of the scale of these recoveries? It's like 3, or is it?
It is double digit, and I've mentioned that publicly. I am familiar with the exact numbers. We had multiple intel officers brief us on all the numbers and where, what, when, where, how.
Where is all the stuff kept? I mean, I assume.
I do know of some specific
Some
locations.
Boeing Raytheon warehouse.
Yeah, I mean.
I like how he calls it stuff. Where's his stuff at?
The material that he was denied access to.
Why didn't he show up with armed guards and demand to see it? I don't understand. Everyone's so passive.
Yeah.
Like, you're the Senate Majority Leader. Show it to me now.
Yeah, you would think that there's some kind of enforcement tactic he could have used. He was trying to get access administratively by sponsoring that special access program.
So that kind of raises an interesting, having spent my life in Washington, you hear this stuff, you don't really know if it's true, about unauthorized and dark things going on in the United States to people who tell its secrets.
Here we go. Yeah, you just, so interesting is to watch this unfold. I never thought I'd see it in my day.
I didn't either.
Did you, DJ, think you were going to ever see this?
No, sir.
I didn't either.
It was April. So I went to Bigfoot conference in April 14th of 2023. And I think it was that day I called my source, my guy, and said, look, is anything going on? Because I'm really just pouring cold water over everybody who thinks that, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I'm not seeing anything. And he basically told me very similar things to what I told you. And I said, well, why would anybody come forward? And he said, well, because people are being threatened. They're being threatened with physical harm and maybe worse. And they're just sick of it. And so that's, essentially that's why they've come forward.
Is there any way you can disclose to us how those threats come about in person, over the phone, innuendo? Are they just innuendo threats? Like, boy, I bet you really love your kids there, things like that.
So some of those things happen where I'll just use what Dave said, that they let him know in no uncertain terms that they could get to him at any time that they wanted to, that they could get to him. So I've heard, I don't want to characterize who those individuals might be, but it's enough to make people feel very patriotic in terms of wanting to get this out there so that this will stop. And very similar about perhaps the way if there were beings that were captured and how they may have been treated and how that might make you feel as a human.
What's the most interesting thing about this disclosure is I personally have not learned one thing. I've been involved in this stuff and hearing these same things since the 80s at least. So all of it just goes, well, great. It's finally somebody's confirming what I already knew. I already knew we had bodies. I already knew we had this, blah, blah, blah. But you still can't really, you can't really talk about it much because people are like, yeah, right. Yeah, sure you do. Sure they do. But now that it's all coming out, I still haven't learned anything new. Have you?
All those things were rumored, just like what you said. But now we didn't have someone again, with that high clearance, with the recency that David offers, meaning his resignation was April 27th,
Yeah.
something like that, or close.
Well, I did learn
this
he
year,
did
so
say we had how many craft? He said double digit.
Yep.
So I did learn that, and I figured that was probably about what I'd figured too. Because I've told my kids, I think we have dozens of craft that from crashes, and probably intact craft.
Yeah, he said that. He confirmed that.
People are like, well, why would a UFO crash if they're so high tech? What's your response?
So I've been told that, and he said this, and I had heard this rumored before from another source that said that they were gifted to us, and then so hearing that, and then you hear it confirmed by Grush, and you're like, wow, okay, and then I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Ross Coulthart, you know who he is, the Australian journalist who. Okay, so Ross Coulthart.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Australian. He was on 60 Minutes Australia at one point.
Yep.
Brilliant journalist. He is the one who did the audio. So this was kind of like a two-tiered. Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kane did the story, which the Debrief published because the other newspapers couldn't get to their level of fact-checking. The Debrief was able to confirm Colonel Carl Nell, amongst others, that they spoke with that confirmed. And when I asked my source, who would confirm Grush, they said it would be people that were flag officer types because he was a GS-15. So the audio portion on News Nation was done by Ross Coulthart, while the other two journalists published it in the Debrief. And then Jeremy and George came afterward and said, we've known him for a year and a half. Okay. Jeremy said he stayed at my house. Okay. So with that, I'm sorry, where was I going, Doug? I forgot. I went off-roading. Now I got to get back on the road. So we were talking about, so the information now has been confirmed by somebody that was that recent. And what Ross Coulthart is, he went on a show after the Dave Grush interview and said that the U.S. recovered a craft which is now exists on foreign soil that was so big that they couldn't move it. They had to build a structure around it.
Yeah.
That I'd never heard before.
I that was new to me too. Yes.
And the Magenta Italy craft from 1933. I think I had heard that rumor. I don't even know if I'd ever heard that. But when Grush told that we Pius XII helped us get that craft after the fall of Mussolini and get that craft back to the United States was pretty huge.
And you notice how little anybody paid attention when the Canadian, was it the defense minister of Canada, came forward because he was a little more elderly. Everybody ignored him. Thought, "Oh, you're just a crazy old man." But he said
that's
a
the
lot
problem,
of profound things.
That's the problem, is that when one guy comes out, you need other people to come and back him up.
Right.
So while there have been some, some craft are abandoned because the occupants don't make it back. Interesting, Debs. Unfortunately, we don't get this cavalcade of people who back up the one whistleblower, just like that gentleman. I don't know if his name was O'Brien, but I know what you mean. He was the Canadian I don't know if he was in their parliament. He was a parliamentary figure, MP or something. So unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. But we hear that more people will come forward. So now it's a waiting game.
So I have a question for Alex. Just because of your age group, do you even read do you read like news, and then if you see a UFO article, do you click on it and read it? Or do you just whatever?
I get all my news probably from social media at this point.
Okay.
Friends. Like Blaine told me about the that jellyfish UFO.
Oh, he did? Okay. But do you ever just seek out this news, or is it just so accepted that it's real, that why bother? You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of silly to say, but the news finds me.
Yeah. Well, your generation's important because you're kind of next in line to run everything, you know.
Yeah.
Your age group. You are next in line. It's just I was curious about what's going through your brain. You know, what does a 30 some year old man think about nowadays? You're what, 32, DJ, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, that's the DJ skincare formula that's kept you looking young.
Yes. Then I'm going to get a free jar.
Free jar.
So I can become Benjamin
It's
Button.
free to everybody because I don't charge for them. So.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I want to just play one more, and I think this is the one where they're talking about this darkness that surrounds this topic. They don't even want to discuss it with family members. Clip 10, sound is good. Final clip.
Okay, so did you guys see the Tucker Carlson interview where he said a government insider told him something about aliens that was so scary he couldn't even tell his wife and that humanity isn't ready for this? Okay, let's watch and then I'll let you know what I think he's talking about.
The UFO story. There are parts of that story that I do not understand at all that are really, really, really dark. It's so dark that I, haven't told my wife about it. I mean, I haven't verified any of this, but this is not just stuff that I read on the internet. I know you all are very, very grounded in that story, so I think I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But there's some stuff there that's just like, man, I'm not even sure what that means. There's a spiritual component there that I don't fully understand. So yes, that story bothers me. And I think, last thing I'll say, that one of the reasons that we've had all these disclosures and all these, 10 whistleblowers at this point, and it hasn't really become front page news. Part of it's suppression. Parts of the government don't want you to know about it, but part of it is the public can't deal with it. It's too far out. The implications are too
Isn't that crazy?
profound. And so, and I understand that because I've heard things where I'm just like, oh man, I don't even really want to know that.
Okay, so after that clip went viral,
That's fine. She just gets into the Eisenhower Agreement. People can research that. So once again, we're back to this really dark thing, and you never gave your opinion, DJ. What do you think it is?
I mean, I think I've heard things like maybe there's a potential retribution that could be a component of this. I also 100% believe that if there were any offensive action taken against humans, either military or civilians, would be a touch point. And I believe that if they have statistics or numbers on abduction that we are unaware of, just the way that park officials didn't want to make Dave Pilates aware of abduction numbers in just that one particular park, I think that's something that would be extremely frightening.
So you think it's the reality of the abductions that's part of this info? The reality of abductions and maybe human mutilations or death or
deaths potentially, and also if there was any potential that there could be retribution for shooting down their craft or how we may have interacted with let's say members of their population that came here and didn't make it home also. So that I think would be the most destabilizing.
So Brendan, throw Brendan's comment up there, Alex. This is interesting. Because I have a story that goes with this, Brendan. Oh, I don't know if I should say it, though. So I interviewed an Arctic explorer. And he was an Arctic explorer, but also he was an Antarctic explorer, right? And I asked him, can you give me one word to describe Antarctica? And he said, evil. Very evil, dark, evil, horrid. And I just was shocked by his answer. I mean, that really shocked me. And so that's really an interesting comment.
I mean, there was a British woman that trekked across Antarctica twice and didn't have an experience like that. And then there was Colin O'Brady, the American, trekked across Antarctica solo. And so, but I don't know what he saw. This individual may have had an experience that was extreme. You know, we've heard people say when they see Bigfoot, I think this is I feel like there's the devil. It's a demon of some sort. It's evil. And I've heard other people say, you know what? It looked at me. It had an expressionless face, turned around and walked away.
Okay, so here's a
Both things can be true,
question to both you guys. Alex, okay, what would be the one aspect of the whole phenomena, the UFO phenomena? If you could ask one question, what would it be? Just one question to get the exact, you know what I mean, a very niche part of it. What part of that niche would you like to know?
Does the government know what they want?
No. Of the government, for them to tell you. So what they want.
Yeah.
Just what they want, period. So you'd want the list of what they want. Okay, well, I guess that would answer. That's a good tricky way to do it, I guess. What would be the one narrow question that you would want answered if you could get that answer, DJ?
I would want to speak to the phenomenon themselves. You know, we asked the question, would you rather see the craft or would you rather meet the beings? And I actually had a guy on a round table say the craft. I'm like, oh my God, like, how could that be?
Yeah.
You know, like, how could you not want do either of you agree? Wouldn't you want to interact with the being and speak, interact with it and speak with it?
What if some of them, what if like Tucker knew that half of them are pure evil and the other half are angelic? That would be pretty dark, and that would be pretty scary, and that would be pretty weird.
People that I've spoken to have said that there are groups that are friendly toward us, there are groups that are indifferent to us, and there are groups that are malevolent toward us.
Yeah.
That would comport with, through our human lens, with what we know about humans. So
True, yeah.
If we were to extrapolate, it's dangerous, but
yeah. So what have you heard about the malevolence? What would they do to us? What would they impart on us? Short of just kidnapping us forever and killing us or disposing or eating or God knows what, doing horrible experiments on.
Well, Deb's got some good questions, but shout out to David Ellis. I love what you do with Bigfoot audio, man. I just totally dig it.
Yeah. So David, I keyed in on Tucker's comment that there is yeah, right. Exactly. Me too.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really curious about. What is this spiritual component?
Well, I mean, this is something like where Nathan and guys like his partner Exo Academian, the consciousness aspect of this come into play, and Chris Bledsoe as well. You know, he's a very religious man, you know, I think they talk a lot about intention. Like if you live with your life with a certain intention, that could have something to do with how they would interact with us. But I would file that under the category of I don't know. But I also think it's important to recognize that that those three groups exist, and while nobody has explained to me what that means about that malevolent group and how that might manifest itself negatively for us, I don't know the answer to that. I just know that as humans with a certain resiliency, we don't really want to fear what we can't control. So if something's going to happen negatively that they could potentially inflict upon us, all I can do is affect what I do in the universe and how I interact with other humans and what I bring to this space. And hopefully that is the right thing. I don't know if it's the right thing, but doing the best for humanity and my fellow humans as I see it. as opposed to sectioning off into I hate this group and I hate that
Right.
group and this group's my enemy and all these sorts of things. The things that, again, we can come back to Bigfoot, that make Bigfoot research so difficult is because of camps and enemies and the need to, if someone doesn't put us in a box, we'll go ahead and place our own self in that box. Because not only do we want to be able to put Bigfoot in a box where we understand it, the first time we see it, there's no box. I don't understand what it is. Oh my God, maybe it's a bear. And then as we become and start to research it, we want to place it in a box that makes us feel good. There's a host who I love, who has an amazing show, and he says, I want this, I really want this to be an ape. And so my question to him, and I respect this gentleman so much, is why do you want it to be anything? Why can't it just, what it is okay, and just take that information and say, okay, look, they found a body, they did research, they did DNA testing, and it's X% human and X% something else. Who cares? I don't care what those numbers are. Could be 10% human for all I care, or 99%.
Yeah.
But why do you want it to be? Why do you want it to be something? Because once you want that, that can color your research and affect what lines of inquiry that you engage and what lines of inquiry you ignore.
Interesting. Well, with that nice transition right into Bigfoot, let's talk about
all
Bigfoot.
roads lead to Bigfoot. It's like Rome.
Yeah, they do. They do. John Baranachuk made a comment that people can accept that UFOs are interdimensional, but reject the idea that Bigfoot. But that's where that question was. Do you think that Bigfoot's using some kind of little technology? If it's, let's just say it is interdimensional, whatever. I don't think it is, but let's just say it is. I'm fine. I'm open-minded. I'd be happy to be wrong. Do you think they have a little button in their wrist? That they have a little implant? They hit the button and chink, and they're gone. Or do you think they do it like Alex said, that word, organic technology? I love that. Or do you think something's controlling them and beaming them up and away? And you know what I mean?
Well,
I guess the reason that I can't accept it is because they're hairy, live in the woods, and poop in the woods. I don't see them with any technology. Or aliens, I see them with what looks like pretty amazing technology. So that's my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. The only thing I can say to that, because I do agree with you, is that if these entities that we agree largely, I mean, we've just gone through 25 different people that are saying these are real and they're coming and they're visiting and we don't know why. So if they find Alex Hajicek so interesting, is it possible that they could also have grabbed one of these creatures and snatched them to have a look at them for a couple days and deposited them back in the woods? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Like they did the elk in the Polides movie.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
I have not seen that movie yet. I got to see it. I have not seen it.
Oh, okay, but if I mean, even Terry Lovelace, the Air Force guy who was abducted out at that Devils, I can't remember. It was in that near them. It was in Arkansas, I believe. I can't remember. Debs, if you can remind me of where Terry Lovelace was.
I'm not familiar with that case.
With the other Air Force guy. It was two Air Force guys that were abducted camping. And they said they saw a puppy on board. Other people have said they have seen dogs, and other people heard kids screaming. So if it's possible that they could have been abducted. I am not personally like, I don't think of Bigfoot in an interdimensional capacity just because so many people have seen it. Do I think it's not possible? No, I won't say that. We could talk about Terry Wendell from Rock Hill Bigfoot, where they were on a Bigfoot investigation with a team of professionals. They had, I think, 3 teams of 3 people each, maybe, and then 1 command center. And one of them, they found a portal out in the woods, and they saw them on therm walk in, disappear, back up, come out.
Yeah, I've heard
So
this.
I mean, I'm not thinking along those lines. I'm just not trying to classify my belief into it's this, it's that, because then I'm just going to be closed off. But I'm with you. I think this is a flesh and blood creature that is walking around, and people are seeing, like you said, eats, poops, has females with mammary glands and children and so forth. But the question is, does it have some abilities that we don't understand in terms of do they have ghosts like humans have ghosts that could inhabit the forest? And when a researcher friend of mine says, we're out on an expedition and I see the brush moving and I hear the footsteps and it should be right there, or I saw footsteps across the trail but I didn't see it across the trail. So is that possible? And people will say, well, because it was in a movie, I don't want to use a mystery to explain another mystery. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to understand how someone says it should be right there and it's not visible. So is it possible that maybe they have ghosts too, along with the obvious flesh and blood creature that thousands and thousands and thousands of people have seen on at least 3 continents that we know of? I mean, so those are the terms that's why I'm not into the camp theory, because then I've sort of pigeonholed myself. Like I thought of, the North American Wood Ape Conservancy. These people know more and have put more effort into Bigfoot and know more about it than I'll ever know in my lifetime and that I'll ever contribute in my lifetime. But giving it a name kind of points you in a certain direction. We've already named it this.
It's a confusing mystery, but it's certainly interesting. All I know is I spent hours today working on the fingerprints they leave behind, trying to get answers. Are these human-like? What are the qualities that are different between these and other apes or other humans? Could they be faked? All these answers. So I'm working on the forensics with some experts, and really hoping Legitimate Science ends up with some pretty definitive answers.
Legitimate Science too. And thank you for doing this work, Doug Hajicek. And thank you to those people from North American Wood Ape Conservancy and all these groups out there. I am I just am analyzing what I see and what pitfalls there might be, but open to a lot of different possibilities. There was something I was thinking of, one specific scenario, but I'll have to try to.
I always have this feeling that once we know all these answers, we're all gonna like, oh my God, duh, like that. I could have had a V8 feeling. Like know, like, oh, that's so simple. Why didn't we think of that?
I remember that commercial, Alex. I don't know if you remember the V8 commercial. It's not so popular with the juice culture now. But
but it was just, I always think we're going to just do a bang into our forehead going, oh man, why didn't I think of that? It's so easy. This explains everything, and blah, blah, blah. And it could be that way because it's for sure truth is much stranger than fiction.
Okay. Can I ask you guys about eye glow versus eye shine? Can you both go through that, please?
I have some interesting theories and interesting info on that. Actually, and I've got to make a call tomorrow. It's too bad I didn't make that call today like I was supposed to. But I have a picture of a gorilla with eye shine. A gorilla with eye shine. Taken
without the
stock. I don't know. That's why I've got a call. No, I believe, but gorilla, even with normal flashlight or a light, there shouldn't be eye shine. If you shine a light on a human, in the woods, you're not going to get any kind of reflection back. You have to have that tapetum lucidum before you can have that. But
Oh,
that's
it's just right on the tip of my tongue.
but which is the mirror, the membrane mirror.
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting. They have now done studies where they have taken people, put them in the dark, in true darkness, and photographed them producing light being emitted from their eyes. And I knew this back in the 90s because I had read a scientific paper that apparently we have a number of cells, protein cells in our eyes that actually produce light. It's a leftover, these cells, and we just have a very few in each eye. And only humans of all the primates have these cells. Somebody was smart enough to do a study, nothing to do with Bigfoot. But when I heard that, I went, oh, so these 3, 4, 5 cells in each eye that we all have are producing light, and it's a leftover. Maybe humans back 600,000 years ago could also have their eyes glow. For
Alex, is your dad blowing you blowing your mind right now? Because he's blowing my mind. Or does this happen all the time?
It's all the time, man. All the time.
So that's just some new information for you, DJ.
Okay, all right. So this is amazing because I haven't heard that. All right, so Alex, what do you think? Do you think that the reports you're hearing, do you think that some of them are attributable to eye shine and some of them are eye glow, one or the other, both?
Yeah, I mean, it could be two different things.
Alex, you witnessed eye glow once. I know you did because it freaked you out.
Yeah.
Dude, come with it, man.
He was pretty weirded out by it, and he was vowing to never, ever do that again, go in the woods again with family members who are into Bigfoot.
All right, so what happened? Where did
I had even a hard time getting a story out of him.
Yeah, I forget where we were.
You were at Carlos Avery.
Okay, yeah. Carlos Avery. I went out with Blaine and we saw some eye glow. He wanted to stay. I just couldn't handle it. It was getting too real.
Yeah. Boy, he took a hour-long story with tons of cool details and turned it into a 1-second soundbite. That's a good job, Alex.
So, was it ducking up and down and doing that kind of stuff?
That was the very definition of downplay right there.
Alex, was it ducking up and down and stuff? Because it freaks me out when...
Yeah, it was like coming in and out of the trees, you know what I mean, where you couldn't see it.
Peeking.
Yeah, I'd say peeking. Let's just say I didn't want to be in the next missing 411 book.
Do you guys think that is attributable? That some of these are attributable to our Sasquatch Bigfoot?
I mean, it's to me, it's possible some are aliens, some are Bigfoot, some are dogmen, some are obviously people just getting lost, and panicking, but I think the problem is a lot of times either we're talking both about the same thing but we think we're talking about different things, and sometimes it's the opposite, right? We're talking about two different things, but we think it's the same thing, you got two people talking about Bigfoot, but one of them is actually a dog man, or
right.
Someone's talking about a dog man, but it's actually he's talking about a Bigfoot. It's not a dog man.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that Dave is talking about, the one that really is really disturbing, he says, where you'll have, like, say, mother, father, son, daughter, and the four of them hiking. They stop for a water break, they just saw him, and then whoever's tail end Charlie, they turn around and the person's gone. And you would think if there were a terrestrial creature that was capturing this person, you'd hear screaming, you'd hear help, you'd see drag marks, all these sorts of things. And then none of those things are present, and they don't find shoes, they don't find anything. And those cases are the ones that are really, Doug, like,
but maybe
I've been wanting to ask you about this.
Maybe people are interdimensional.
Well, I think
by
I don't
accident.
know if it was John DeSouza, the FBI guy with Dave, that was talking about they could just a portal can open up and they walk into it and it closes and they're gone. Like,
They don't
what's
even know
your
they're in the portal. Yeah.
right? They don't know. Like, what's
Yeah.
your thought on that scenario where they say
Yeah.
the time is so short, it's not possible to have this sort of physical, capturing of the person
Yeah.
silently and without leaving an evidence trail that the dogs can't even find.
Well, probably the most interesting cases I was interested in. I worked with David for a while.
Yes, I just found out.
We
yeah.
worked on a program together. Got to know David quite a bit. He's amazing. But there were some cases where people have survived walking down a trail, and what they describe is I'm on a trail and then suddenly I'm not on a trail. I'm in the middle of the woods. How did I get from walking this trail every day for the last 5 years, I'd say it's the Appalachian Trail, and suddenly now I'm in the woods? And the guy had enough brains to go, some glitch happened. I'm going to stay put right here. And then he found himself back on the trail again the next day.
He just stayed
He
right.
stayed put. Once he found himself, just on the trail, walking, suddenly now he's off the trail. He doesn't know how in the world he got off the trail. So he just stayed put all night right there.
So you find that the classic portal.
That is probably a case of either a time glitch of some sort, which I'm pretty sure are real. I've experienced enough of them to know, and I've seen them firsthand right in front of me. And I could tell numerous stories of time glitches where things are just a little off, almost like we go into another dimension that's just off a bit. It's similar but different. And maybe those kinds of things happen randomly or from magnetic or sun flares. There could be, look, one thing we never talk about, nobody does, is space weather and what effects that has on time, space. There's nobody that talks about it. It's just not discussed. I believe that certain days there may be a solar flare that may affect what I'm seeing, my reality, what dimension I may be, because they say everybody's in like 11 dimensions or some damn thing like that already. And everyone's different, but similar. Well, if you're walking on a trail and suddenly you're not on that trail, it's similar. He was still in the woods. He still was in the Appalachian Mountains. He was just maybe off 100 yards, but he doesn't know that trail's over there 100 yards. He just was smart enough to just stay put. But he came back and told the tale. So I take special note of those cases, of where somebody came back from that situation and told the tale. Okay, for instance, here's an example of a time glitch I've experienced with my daughter. I've told this story a couple of times. I may have even told you. But we went to my family reunion. We checked into our room, put our luggage in the room. Immediately, we had to go to the family reunion, close the door, walk towards the elevator, straight down the hall. We get to the elevator. We push the button. Elevator opens. This very colorful family, very distinct looking, walks out. Like, for instance, the son was really tall with a big afro, and he had a very red, like kind of an African shirt. Very distinct. The whole family was very distinct. Grandma was with, who was really short, wearing a blue shawl, blah, 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 blah. So we fell high, and they walk by us and they walk to the room. We get in the elevator, down we go. Elevator doors open. We immediately go out the front doors of the hotel, and here comes the family about maybe 300 feet away, walking towards the hotel. And
even though they were just in the elevator.
Yeah, we just had seen them.
Yeah.
And my daughter looked at me and immediately just said, glitch.
Wow.
And that's the story. It's not complicated. It happened. And I've had that happen I would have to guess. I'm getting up into the 50s at this point, 50 times. I literally could write a book on the time glitches I witnessed like that. Because I pay attention. I don't blow them off. Some of them could be as simple as setting a tool down. You know you set it there, and you never find it again. Yeah. Or one time I was spray painting a motorcycle frame. I had a frame hanging in my garage and had it all plasticed in. And I was just doing a rattle can because it's a bike frame. They don't take much paint. So I'm spraying it, and I dropped the can, slipped out of my hand. I watched it hit the floor and disappear, and I never found it again. In a very clean garage, nothing on the floor, everything spotless, never found it. I had to go back up to the hardware store and get it, and it never showed up again. Simple. It's a simple time glitch. It's got to be. What other explanation would there be?
Is this the frame for the RD50, the RD350 you're going to sell me?
No. It was a frame for a 1910 Indian I was building.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. 9 years after
I was building a replica. DJ, don't get too excited. I'll sell it to you. It's in my garage. I still have it.
I'll wait on the RD350.
No. But anyhow, those things happen. I think to all of us. We've all experienced the missing sock. What the frick happened to the other sock? You know,
I had an episode during this interview where I can't remember. You guys were kind of having a giggle at me for something. And
I was saying you couldn't stop talking for.
No, it was something.
3 seconds.
No, it was something else. That was before I even came on air. You said that, but there was something that you guys were having a giggle at me about, and I was trying to mea culpa something. Oh. And what went through my mind, this is during the show, and what went through my mind is I remember this happening before, and I've never been on air with you and Alex before.
Oh, so you're having deja vu. Deja vu. Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had that a few times, not a ton, but like 3 times. But it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Really I was at the Pinchot Gifford National Forest. We were filming Mysterious Encounters. The RV's up on the hill, and I got the weirdest deja vu. Like, oh my God, this is all just a memory. And then I had it. Oh, probably the most weird deja vu, Alex, is when I walked into that Bella, and I went, I'm going to buy this place.
Whoa.
And I don't know why. It was like, I was there 2 seconds, and it just, all these memories of this place came to me, all these happy memories. And so I bought it and ran it for
villa.
It was a great experience. That was wonderful.
Wow.
And sold it. But my point is that sometimes they mean something too, I think. Maybe. I don't know. But that was one of the weirdest deja vus that actually had a huge effect on my life. Because I'm like, because I always tell people go, well, how do you invent this toy? So, well, I remembered that I did. So I use that a lot, quite a bit, actually. I remember things. I don't invent. I remember that I already did do that. And
you already did this.
Then I have to kind of remember, like, well, how did I do it? Oh, yeah, I remember. And so I do that a lot. And sometimes, some months I can control it really well, where I can remember things. And some months I can't do it as well. But I have it mainly happens like later like if I'm up really late, 3, 4 in the morning, I get these memories. I'll tell you a quick story.
Please.
It was late, and I had this memory of this toy I invented. And I called the toy company up that I remember I sold the toy to and got the guy out of bed, the CEO of it. Steve, you know Steve, Alex?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so I get this thing, and I just pitch it to him. He just wakes up, and he answers his phone, and I'd never even met the guy. He answers his cell phone, and I told him about this invention and I had already I built the prototype within like I don't know, maybe took me half an hour, and told him about it. And he goes, God, that sounds amazing. Call me in the morning. And it did end up coming to fruition.
So you dreamed it before it happened.
They didn't dream it. I just suddenly, the memory came back that this existed. So then I just thought, oh, yeah. It's so familiar. Deja vu, like a deja vu, but with like an image in my head. And then all these memories kind of flood in. And then I already knew. And it was weird, too, because Joe, a guy in our office, had met this guy by just coincidence who owned this toy company. And I didn't get to meet him, and he did, and that was like in another state. And I then got a hold of Joe. I said, give me this guy's number. But when I called him, it all even seemed familiar to him. But the thing ended up coming to fruition is my point. Well, I could give, of those kinds of things, I give you 1,000 examples of remembering
stuff that
little inventions, and then I just do them really quick. And Alex knows I keep those guys busy a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
Are you actualizing some of these?
I make sure that they happen, yeah, because I know everything about it. It's like
No, I mean,
what?
I mean, is Alex part of it? Like, does he construct?
No, well, sort of. He works in the office, but we have like an engineer that works for us that can draw everything up, and
that is awesome.
They'll immediately go to work on the sketch. It looks like I could go in the garage and grab any number of them, including the one I had that night. And they literally, the final product looks exactly like the sketch I drew. It's kind of weird. I heard that Tesla did that a lot. And I didn't know that. I just had heard that recently. That Nikola Tesla used to get these kind of memories.
And you've had experiences with two types of entities. Have you had the third as well? The ghosts,
two types of what?
Paranormal entities, like you've experienced Bigfoot in person, and you've experienced UFOs in person. So that's two.
I've experienced Bigfoot from my car, and then I've experienced numerous experiences where I've not seen anything but felt the wrath. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had, we've had paranormal off and on experiences at the house. Banging on the door, like really hard pounding, running up and down the hallway, beating on all the doors in the hallway. And there's, I'm thinking it's the kids that somehow got up at 3 a.m. and running around, and I go there and they're all sleeping. And then there was, the only time was AJ woke up once and was crying because she had heard that and said she saw the thing walk through her room. She was really freaked out. She's going to come on Untold and tell some stories, which is
awesome.
I told her, I said, yeah, you have had more experience. Me and her have had a ton. So another time glitch, we're down playing ping pong. We're in our lower game room playing ping pong, having fun. And we hear Yvette come home. Yvette's making dinner. We hear the pots and pans and drawers opening and closing, dishwasher. We just hear all the sounds of cooking. And we go, we go to the thing. Hey, it's an open doorway. Hey, hello, and nobody answers. Literally, AJ just started crying right then, right on the spot. It's like instant. I've never seen anybody start crying so quick because it really hit her that we were hearing Yvette home from a time glitch of some sort, but she wasn't.
Wow.
Home. And because it was so distinct, it wasn't like we maybe heard something. No, we heard cupboards opening, silverware drawer, silverware. We heard all that stuff, like somebody unloading the dishwasher. And I don't think it was a ghost. I just think it was Yvette. It was a time glitch.
What do you think happened with Ron Moorhead and those guys when they heard all that racket in the camp and then came out and everything was orderly?
I don't know. It was interesting because we were doing a show, and Alex, we were talking about supersonic jets and how they've made them so it sounds like a car door shutting. And that was one of the things Ron Moore had reported in the 70s.
Yeah,
So
and
crazy.
and Tom Messick, when he went missing in New York, one of the hunters heard a sound in the forest that sounded unnatural, right? He
Oh,
said
yeah.
something metallic or something. Yeah.
How about the guy? How about the guy on the ski slope? You heard the ski slope story?
Is that the guy who walked down to his car, forgot the car keys at the restaurant and walked back up, or a different guy?
No.
Colorado.
This guy is skiing downhill in New York, upstate New York.
Ah, okay.
He's a fireman. He's at
Mm-hmm.
they're at some kind of fireman's convention in upstate,
Mm-hmm.
a ski lodge.
Yes.
And he's skiing downhill. All of a sudden, he finds himself on a road in another state.
Yes. He was a Canadian fireman. He was from like Toronto, and he
maybe it was
ended up
Toronto.
in
Yeah,
Sacramento.
I can't remember. I thought it was New York, but
No, it was
somewhere.
You're right. He was in New York, but then when he ended up in the airport in Sacramento with his ski clothes on, called somebody. I don't remember if it was his wife or somebody, but yeah.
And then his journey to get back home, and then his friends not believing him. But that's an example of a good time glitch.
Yeah.
That could be the same. That could be the answer what's happening to these missing 411 people. Because what if you suddenly get transplanted on top of a lake?
Right.
You're just going to sink and drown.
Right.
Or
Hopefully
what
it's
if
not
you
the
get
middle.
transplanted from 1,000 feet up?
Right. And
Double
you don't
glitch.
happen to have a
Double
parachute
glitch.
handy.
So it's two glitches.
Yeah.
One, you get moved, and two, you get moved at the wrong altitude. Because if you think about it, if you go through another dimension and you go right or left, the elevation may be different. And you suddenly may find yourself 400 feet up and dropped. Or you may find yourself underground. Think about this. Like down 100 feet underground. And so you become conscious and you're now 100 feet under the ground, and then you suffocate within, a minute. And that's what could be happening.
Well, yeah, a certain amount of, prehistoric Rome is underground. Well, I shouldn't say post-historic Rome, but in the, let's say, the Caesarean era, a lot of it is now below.
But I'm
the
not
street
talking
line,
about like volcanic
Yeah.
ash, but I'm just talking about something that happens that quick.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. All of a sudden you're on the ground below you. Or
Yeah.
you're too far down, and then you're just missing forever, no trace. My son camped at a place where a guy went missing. They'd never found a trace of him. All they found was his wallet in the tent. And he seeks out places like that to go camping. I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. My son.
He's
How many
the
brothers you
adventurous
got?
one.
He's
that
adventurous.
Blaine?
I'm like, boy, and then
I got two.
and then
yeah.
crap starts going down. Like his
Yeah.
like his last time he went there, I mean, the lady he was with ended up with PTSD. Okay. Not joking. I mean, I'm not joking.
So he's like you. You're like, okay, I'm digging this. Bring it on. And Alex is like, yo, is the car right over there? Let's go get in
Alex
the car.
is Alex was the kid. I would take him to the go-kart track, and Blaine would take off at 100 miles an hour, and Alex would be sitting there going probably 1 inch an hour because he was so cautious. He was the smart one. He
Live
was
to
the
fight
one that
another
if I put
day.
him on a kiddie ride, he would be like, he'd look at me and go, "This isn't safe, Dad." That was Alex.
Yeah, where's the
Blaine
seatbelt?
just jumped out of an airplane not too many weeks ago.
Yeah, he did.
So that's Blaine and that's Alex, but they're best friends.
That's
The
awesome.
two bros are best friends, but they're completely different.
I love that. I love hearing when brothers are best friends. It's
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, Alex isn't the adventurous one.
No, he
He's the
he does
sad.
enough
It was
of that
funny
for
too,
me.
because when he was a kid, I was like, well, I don't have to worry about that kid. And I knew I never had to, he never once had to discipline Alex. Never had to say no.
Wow.
He already knew no. He knew the burner was
Wow.
hot. He already knew these things, right? As a kid growing up, he knew what that was, and this was hot. He never did anything wrong.
But
Blaine, he was getting, no, don't do that, Blaine. No. It was always Blaine was the one that, was
Had all the fun.
like Blaine. I'd bring him to we'd go to a resort, and there would be Alex and me at my feet. I turned my head, and there'd be Blaine running down. He'd be a half a mile away, and within seconds, like, where are you going? You're 3 years
definitely
old.
you don't want to take him to Yellowstone. So-
No, it's like, where are you going, Blaine? I would catch him and
Yeah.
go, where do you think you're going there, son?
Wow.
Oh my God, he was something. Yeah. So he's still like that. He does things, and I always go, why do you do things with wheels with no brakes? That's not a smart thing. Next thing I see him, he's got a cast on. That's Blaine. Yeah.
Sounds like he should have been a MotoGP rider.
Yeah,
So
he should have been a MotoGP.
that kind of
exactly.
no fear.
Even
last
though I don't
person on the
even know what
brakes.
that is. Yes, he should have
Yeah.
been a MotoGP rider.
This season, you will know, Doug. I'll be sharing videos with you. I'll be trying to indoctrinate you. They got a guy who spent 17 years marketing in the NBA to be their new chief of marketing. He's an American guy. And I think that's going to help to try to get people to understand why you should watch this sport. So look, I had a little Twitter. I shouldn't
my
say I
God.
had an exchange,
He's trying to
but,
get me interested in MotoGP. I have no interest.
Yet.
Well, you got to learn about it. Blaine's going to be doing it soon enough.
Yeah. No,
I could probably name off a.
That's the one where they go around with the steel plate in their knee sewn into their clothing, right? And they
Not
lean.
steel. It's made of like a fire. So the lean is so extreme now that you can't put the knee down. They go down lower. Now it's elbow and shoulder.
Okay, that
Because the
sounds like a
construction of
brilliant plan.
The
What could
Michelin
go wrong?
tires are such that your lean can be even greater than somebody like me who, if I go to the track and I touch my knee down, I'm like, oh wow, I got my knee down. To those guys, like, no, you need to get more lean, so that you can get faster around the corner. So
Okay, on the MotoGP comments, we got to wrap it up. We're way overdue.
yeah, it's
40 minutes
I know,
overdue.
I'm gonna work tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody, for in chat and oh my God, you guys are just awesome.
Yeah.
We really appreciate
True.
it.
Thank you.
And Alex, thank you. It was fun. DJ,
Sir.
loved it. It was just totally a weird, cool. It was a Paul Schaefer show. Cool Paul Schaefer show.
Here,
Awesome.
two good-looking guys with hair. It was a pleasure to meet you, Alex, and to hang out with you, Doug. It's an honor
Yeah,
to be
no, it's fun.
on your. I listen to your network all the time. It's part of how I get my education. So,
Yeah,
so
right.
thank you. And I'm serious. I do. I can't tell you how many of these shows I listen. The Australian couple. I mean, I listen to.
Oh, they're great.
Him and
Yeah.
Dana.
Yeah.
I listen
Yeah.
to. Like Jeff, your doppelganger. So yeah, I listen to a lot of your network.
Yeah.
Oh, and you have a new guy from Minnesota, right?
No,
Chris?
he's not from Minnesota. He's actually out east.
Is he?
Chris Reinhardt discovered Sasquatch.
Is that the? Wow, his
It's our
accent is
newest.
pretty strong. He's not from Minnesota.
No.
Okay, he's good, man. Is he the one? Because one of your guys was talking about the Patterson Gimlin film
Yes,
the other
that's
day,
Chris.
and that Dr. Bruce
Yep,
Maccabee
Maccabee,
has
yep.
the film, and they're going to release that there's a baby. In
Yeah,
the-
I'm going to be having a meeting with Bruce's wife
Mhm.
to discuss and apparently maybe see what's on the film. So the
You're
story
so
is
convincing, Doug.
they
You're
ended
gonna
up
get
with
it.
the original by a purchase that had a few extra feet at the end. That's plausible that didn't get copied off. It is plausible. But I got to see it. You know how that goes. I'm not going to say a damn word. Hopes are high. But they claim there's a baby that comes up to the big one, and it's motivating on its own, and it walks weird, and la la la, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm living in a new dimension, and people say, well, that's just not possible. Well, there was a lot of shell games on that original. I do know that there were a lot of shell games. But I'm gonna call. I have to call like Bill Munns and Jeff. And I don't even know if they've heard about this. I'm curious what their opinion is. On these copies.
I can't wait to. I love that film. From the moment I saw that film as a young person, I said that's a real creature. Just my empathic feeling was that was.
But
real.
I don't want to build people's hopes up. But I would hope that I can do a whatever, or some kind of a thing, and this footage can debut if it exists, or if it's good enough, in Legend Meets Science 2. Wouldn't that be a cool deal? Yeah. So the timing is interesting. I find it pretty interesting, but I don't know. It just seems too good to be true type thing, right? And when two things are too good to be true, they usually are. Yeah.
They usually
Thank you so much. It like I said, it's an honor to be on with you guys.
Yeah, no, it was my honor. Thank you for your service too. You've done so much. You have done a lot for our country, and we do appreciate it. And I praise you for that. So
I'm just happy the Air Force gave me a chance to make something of myself.
And we didn't even get a chance to talk about. We got to have you come back. We'll have you come back, and I want to hear more about your career. And so with that, we're going to leave you. Let me look here. I just want to make sure I covered everything I need to. So I guess all I'm going to do is part with the wisdom from George Carlin, and that is something he said a lot. Just because you get the monkey off your back doesn't mean the circus has left town. Good night, everybody.
So I was talking about Bigfoot in Europe. Yeah, they have him over there. He has a totally different name, though. It's Big Meter.
I call you up in the middle of the night, bothered by the dreams and feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. Till we get bored, just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start falling, we'll head home again. Everybody else can see where we belong. Oh, ain't no ordinary love we got going on. At the end of the world, together forever is one. You should be in doubt, and I pray they never can pull us apart, and I'll wait for the time when we'll be together every day. But I know if ever we'll be led astray, that I'll find my way back home to you again. Together forever is one, and I'll wait if ever you should be in doubt, and I pray they never can pull us apart, and I'll wait at the end of the world. Together forever is one, and I'll wait if ever you should be in doubt, and I pray they never can pull us apart, and I'll wait for the time together every day.